Hey there everybody, my name is Kat Bowser. I'm your resident fantasy therapist. Welcome back to my channel. Those of you here for the first time, welcome. My name is Kat Bowser. I'm a licensed therapist. I'm also a writer working on my first two novels, one the start of a series, one a standalone. And on my channel, I like to talk about what I consider to be the heart of writing. That's the characters. The heart of the characters is their psychology. So that's the angle I like to take with everything I talk about on my channel. So this week, I'm a little late. My plan originally was to record on Monday and get it uploaded on Tuesday. I ended up having to delay recording to Tuesday, and then Tuesday afternoon, we had to go to the ER for my husband. He's doing fine, but that's why this is late, so I'm sorry. Hey guys, so I wanted to talk real briefly today about point of view, or more specifically, there's definitely prejudice against certain points of view. So this video actually came up because this is something I am currently working through with my work in progress. As I was doing some outlining to kind of help me through some rough spots, some spots that were slagging, I came to the realization that the character's voice was weaker than I wanted it to be. And so as an experiment, I took the first chapter of my work in progress and I totally rewrote it in first person. And it works so much better. Those of you who've been on my channel a while know I'm not usually the biggest fan of first person, but I'm open to changing that idea. Reason being, I think there is, I don't know, I would almost call it, there's almost this subconscious prejudice against first person. And I wondered if it was just me. But I don't think it is, because especially within like the fantasy genre, I like to look at other authors and their progress and their works in progress and all that sort of stuff. And I've found that a lot of people that do fantasy in particular, especially for older audiences, like adult and that kind of thing, they don't like first person. They tend to stick to third person. That's an interesting phenomenon. But I think there might be a reason for it. And this is definitely, I don't take this as like gospel or anything. This is just my interpretation and my experience, so take that as you will. I think there is this push against first person in the adult genre because first person is associated with young adult and children. Reason being, middle grade books. I grew up reading, Babysitter's Club, Animorphs. Animorphs kind of shifts from middle grade to young adult, but still kind of the same area. Those kind of books. First person. Each book in Babysitter's Club and Animorphs actually switches. So one book might be from, like, say, Christie's point of view. One book might be Claudia's, so on and so forth. And you would always know by the title. They would tell you who the book was going to be about, whose point of view it was going to be from. Animorphs, same kind of thing. It switched back and forth. And on the first page, they tell you who's talking, usually about the character saying, "Hi, my name's Marco, my name's Jake, my name's Rachel," whatever. And I think it's kind of gotten ingrained as first person is this less mature viewpoint. And I don't think that's fair. But I'll admit, I kind of fell into it too. When I started writing my book, I was adamant, I do not want this in first person. It needs to be third person. And originally, I think my idea behind it was sound. Like, I think the reason why I wanted it third person made sense. Originally, it was because I thought there was going to be a lot of scenes with information that the characters who were telling the story wouldn't know. So naturally, I couldn't do it first person if that's what I was going to do. But as I went through the process of writing the book and outlining it, I kind of came to the conclusion, why am I telling the reader this information the character doesn't know? Would it not be more impactful for them to find out with the character? And yeah, that kind of makes sense. It is challenging. I'm not going to say first person is not challenging. It is. I used to write it all the time, actually, when I was younger. And I don't know, maybe I got this idea in my head that, okay, you're older now, you have to do third person. A lot of my favorite books are written in third person. Like, everybody's been on my channel knows I'm a Tolkien fanatic. I love Tolkien. Third person. Although kind of a weird third person. It's an omnipotent narrator, but the narrator does have a personality. So anyway, but it's still technically third person. Chronicles of Narnia was another one I read growing up. That was one of my first introductions to fantasy, third person. Last Unicorn was one of my introductions to fantasy, third person. So third person was, to me, almost, that was the fantasy genre point of view. And I don't think that ever was told to me like verbatim. Like, I don't think anybody ever sat me down and said, okay, if you're going to write fantasy, you can't write it in first person. It has to be third person. That never happened. It was this subtle thing. And I think especially because a lot of YA is unfortunately dumped on, which is not fair because there are some great books that are in YA. But YA does use a lot of first person. And I think that, I don't know, through cultural osmosis or something, I think I kind of got this idea that if I wanted to write an adult fantasy novel, I had to do it in third person. Not true. You can do it in whatever point of view suits the story. And I'm finding that first person is what my story needs for the character's voice to come out the way I want it to. Like, all of you guys know psychology is my jam. I love psychology. That's something that goes into all my stories. I look into the background and the motives and everything behind the characters. What better way to explore that than with first person? And I don't know why this is like news to me. Like, this was like an epiphany for me, and I really don't know why it took me so long. I will blame Marion Blackwood's books, which are a great fantasy written in first person, for kind of making me realize that first person is not this lesser point of view. It's just depends on what you need for your story. I will say that I still am not fond of second person point of view. If anybody has a book out there that can change my mind, let me know. I'm open to it. But I do think that, as a general rule, there is this kind of idea that first person is meant for teenagers or children, and I don't think that's fair. I mean, even now, like, A Song of Ice and Fire is written in third person deep, which is kind of what I was aiming for, was third person deep, but then I kind of realized this still doesn't quite work. So that's why I made the decision to switch it to first person. And so far, guys, rewriting it, it's so much better. And it's so much more of what I wanted to get across. So I kind of wanted to make this video just kind of talk about my kind of epiphany about this. I don't know if I'm the only one that's been through it. I'm sure somebody else has. But choosing point of view for your story is really important. And I think that we all kind of have these subtle ideas about, you know, well, this is what you should be doing. This is what you should be doing. And sometimes we aren't even aware of them. Like I said, I wasn't even aware I kind of had this prejudice against first person until I started really diving into it and exploring books in first person. It surprised me, but that's how we grow as writers, I think, is to explore these ideas that we have about point of view, style, syntax, all that stuff. So I think it's a good thing. And I just wanted this video to just kind of be kind of like me talking about how I came to this conclusion. I know that there is definitely a lot of good books out there I have not yet read, and I'm going to be going through and looking at some of the books that I may have passed over because they were written in first person. I have a feeling I've missed a lot of really good books. So that's just kind of my recent epiphany, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Feel free to leave comments below if you guys have any thoughts on this topic. I'd love to hear them. As always, I try to upload twice a week, once at the beginning of the week, once at the end of the week. If you guys don't want to miss when I upload, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell so you don't. And until next time, keep writing, and I hope you guys have a good one.